Welcome back. Since markets are stable and strong, it's a good time then to get you an exclusive. Now, Shireen caught up with the management team of Zerodha and asked them about their thoughts on going public. She also quizzed them on SEBI's latest measures on the fee structure and the kind of impact it will have on their broking business. Listen in to excerpts of that conversation.
Let me put that question to all three of you, because that is the number one question that everybody's asking. Why don't you IPO in a market where everybody's IPOing at this point in time? Is it about the fact that you don't have line of sight, clear line of sight as far as revenue predictability is concerned, especially in the current regulatory environment? Two, is it about the fact that, look, you don't have any exits to offer because you didn't want to carry that baggage with you? And three, your freedom, the ability to want to do the things that you want to do without having to answer questions, which is it? And is it a no for now, or is it off the table, for the long term?
I mean, the only reason we would want to IPO is because we are at the forefront of this, right? As in, we are a stockbroker, and we ask every company to create wealth.
Exactly.
So that's the only reason. I mean, I don't think, at least for now, there is any other reason to go IPO, right? As in, if ever we decide in the next, I don't know, by the time, I mean, the plan as of now is we build a bunch of businesses, build some diversification, and then maybe once there is predictability, then we can decide, right? As in, but then, even then, IPO or not IPO, that's...
So let me come to you, Nikhil. We're going to go back to your story in just a second, but let's do the IPO part first. And I was having a conversation with Samir Nigaman at PhonePe, and he said exactly this. He said, till I can look an investor in the eye and say, this is the line of sight I have as far as revenue and profitability is concerned, I'm not going to go IPO. And then I had a conversation with Yashish Daya at Policy Bazaar, and he said, one of the reasons why we considered IPOing was because in a regulated business, trust is a crucial currency. And when you're listed, it automatically is a currency that you deal with. So when you consider the possibility, I don't know whether you'll do it 5 years from now or never, but what is the conversation in your head and amongst yourselves about IPOing?
Well, I think there are ways to argue both sides. There are pros to IPOing and there are negatives to IPOing. To your earlier example, can one argue that without IPOing, can a company be as compliant and follow regulation and build the kind of trust that a company which is public can? I think the answer is yes. And
no, he wasn't saying it from the point of view of can we be compliant, but he was saying it from a point of view of, for the retail investor, when you're listed, they see you as being a trusted entity because you're out there in the public markets.
I feel the contrary is true. As a listed company, there is so much you can say and there is so much you can't say. If you look at Zerodha and you look at Nithin tweets a lot about the numbers and predictability and stuff like that, I would argue that as a listed company, he can't go out on Twitter and say it looks bleak and profits are going down.
To say the best is perhaps behind us. I mean, that would have taken the stock down if you were actually listed.
So maybe there are other ways to build trust, which are not necessarily IPO. They're more nuanced in nature, but they're also more honest by virtue of that.
So if you had to vote, would you vote for an IPO in the near future or not?
I would be conflicted because the pros and cons, I think, are very close to being equal.
So it's what, 50-50 for you?
I would say 50-50, more leaning towards no IPO today.
More leaning towards no IPO. Kailash?
I would lean heavily towards no IPO, but then again, I'm not really a finance person.
Yeah.
To me, it's a bunch of common sense questions. Why does an organization IPO? If you want to raise capital, if you have a need for capital. Thankfully, we don't have a need for capital. And freedom and liberty is what really allows us to excel in what we do. And that's a big factor for me personally, the innovation that we do, the decisions that we take. So for me, unless, like Nikhil is saying, unless there's the pros and cons outweigh each other significantly, the flip, I'd heavily lean towards not.
Heavily lean towards not. Are you 50-50 or heavily leaning against not?
I mean, the only other reason, apart from the fact that we are stockbrokers, to list is if regulations ask us to list. Like, if if SEBI says you're too big a broker
Yeah.
to be not listed,
Yeah.
then maybe not. Then maybe yes, we have to list.
You spoke about this very openly, saying that you believe that perhaps the best is behind the broking business on account of the many changes that have come in on the regulatory side, whether it's F&O and so on and so forth. And the prospects of moving to T+0 and ASBA in the secondary market, that could be an even further debilitating factor as far as your business is concerned. So how do you operate if there is fear, obviously that constrains your choices at this point in time, or do you feel that you now have to think out of the box to try and sort of innovate your way out of this? And is it even possible?
Yeah, I mean, the thing what the regulator, especially SEBI, wants the brokers to do is to earn money only from brokerage and not from anything else. And since the entire industry is used to earning in a certain way, which is like a sum of all the parts, so it's going to be a big challenge especially for, I don't say incumbents, but then someone who has benefited the entire broking industry, it would be a challenge. Now, essentially, we have to figure some way to kind of get over it, as in we potentially have to up the brokerage or something like that, and.
But given the competitive landscape that you're dealing with, how easy is it going to be to up the brokerage, so to speak? An offset or work your way out of this?
The thing is, we're really confident of the product. Okay, so the thing is, running a broking firm is a tough job.
Yeah.
And it's because of all the dependencies that exist, especially in the product side, and what K has built is really special. So we have an advantage in terms of product to be able to charge a premium. For like 14 years, we charged an account opening fees.
Yeah.
We are the only brokers to do it.
Yeah. But now you've done away with it.
We had to do it away. We had to get away with it. But the fact that 1.4 crore Indians paid an account opening fees, that says something about the product.
Yeah.
Right. So essentially, I don't think the industry, we can play around with the. You can really undercut and etc. So some sweet spot will be found. I don't know where it is, 20 rupees or where.
Okay, that is a very interesting conversation. We'll keep getting you excerpts of that through the course of the day. But time for a short break now. On the other side, we put spotlight on Divi's Labs and why that stock is buzzing in trade. Stay tuned.